Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP bleed build with the Uchigatana in Elden Ring. So this is a build guide that you can use all the way through playing this game, and it's extremely powerful against bosses. So I'll go through the guide and how we want to level up, and all the equipment, and just a general way of playing through this. So as you can see, all my stats right here. We want to get our, so I'll start with the stats as we're leveling. I'm using a level 50 build here, but you want to get your vigor up to 30 first. That is like the main thing you want to be doing with a build, is just get the vigor up to 30, and then you can focus on your damage stats. So I have my mind and endurance both at 32. You can go lower on the mind. I just want to have a bit more FP, because I do have some spells and incantations you can use here that make this actually a really strong build. So the mind is not important, but get your endurance up there, as it's going to help you with running around and attacking. Strength at 22, so we can use weapons like the Blasphemous Blade if we want to swap that in, because there's some bosses that are just weak to it. We have our dexterity at 52, but you can take points from your strength and your mind to put them into that. Our intelligence at 9. Faith we have at 15, and there's a reason for that. We want to have our faith at 15 and our arcane at 17. Arcane's going to help out with bleed, but these stats you would focus on later on in the game. We just want to be able to get our 10 faith, 10 arcane as quick as possible to use the dragon communion seal. But you can alternatively, if you don't want to use that, you can use the finger seal. It's just lower stats. You have to have 10 faith, so you may need a couple points in faith. But this allows us to do some really crazy stuff, which I'll show you guys how to do. As for our equipment, I'm using the white mask because this is going to increase your attack power by 10% when you deal bleed damage, which is the focus of this build. Same thing as the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. This actually does 20%, and they stack, so you get an extra 20% with the plus 10. It ends up being like 31% or 32%, which is a nice addition to your attack power after bleed, which we'll be doing pretty frequently. I'm using Blade's armor here. Now, the armor itself doesn't matter as much, just the white mask is important. If you can see just above my head here, the poise number 64. Our cutoffs are 51. You want to have at least 51 poise as early as possible, so whatever armor combinations makes your Elden Bling happy. But you want to get at least 51 poise. 56 is ideal, and then 61 is another cutoff, so this increases the amount of posture damage we're able to deal, which is really nice to have. So just try to get your poise up as high as possible quickly, but that's not a huge priority if you can't get it up that high, because it's important to make sure that you have enough endurance, that you're medium load rolling. You don't want to ever fat roll. This is a big no-no in Souls games. As for talisman, I'm also using the green turtle talisman, so we increase our stamina recovery speed. I find this is good just for getting around and moving and attacking. It's just great to have your endurance come back quicker. Lord of Blood's Exaltation for that extra 20% damage, which is huge. Shard of Alexander greatly boosts the attack power of skills, and we're going to be attacking with skills often, which I'll show you guys a very powerful weapon art that we want to have. And finally, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. This increases damage negation by 20%. You can swap this out for like the Halig Drake or the Halig Flame one if you need to fight a boss that deals fire or holy damage. Black Knife Tish and Mimic Tear for summons. But the way we're going to want to go around doing this build is we're gonna use the double slash, which does this. Not normally pretty crazy, but let me show you how we can get Rivers of Blood at home. So Rivers of Blood being one of the most famous weapons in Elden Ring, we can actually make it with this build here. So it's really powerful. You can just do the simple attack there. It goes swipe, swipe. But we also, they're going to come after me here. You can also do a multi-attack. So that's the beauty of this, is we can, nice. We can attack multiple times, you can see there. So it does that 5 attack combo, which will completely kill anything that you're fighting against. So it's very powerful. I also have Flame Grant Me Strength. As you saw the damage numbers there, we can actually get higher damage by doing this. As you see, I hit 2,000 with 2 swipes of the blade. So these stack. Using the Blood Flame Blade plus that will give us increasingly high damage. So it's these two spells, Blood Flame Blade and Flame Grant Me Strength. They're both extremely powerful. Oh, he fell off the edge. And it allows us to hit some high numbers, like 2 swipes there, dead. I would highly recommend going with both of these. I also have Dragon Rock Breath here. There's some bosses that will just be easier to take out with like with the Scarlet Rot. So for example, like the Flame Giant, that's another one that's challenging, but Rot Breath will deal tick damage over time to him, so that's really good. As you can see there, this will actually go through shields, so it's quite strong. It's basically the Rivers of Blood without having to go through all the work to get that weapon. I'm also using Swarm of Flies, so I'll show you what this does. It's good against certain bosses because it can trigger bleed really easily. So you just cast it there, and it'll continually, as you can see, do bleed damage. But it's a nice accessory to what we already got going on. And the blood boon is another one that can continually deal bleed damage, so you can take out enemies really quickly. But this is really the main two that we want: is Blood Flame Blade, which you can get in Learning of the Lakes, and then Flame Grant Me Strength, which will buff up your fire and your strength damage. So this can be a very powerful build, and once you trigger bleed, you're just going to be dealing even more damage, so you can continually attack them and just continue to get higher and higher damage numbers. So this is a pretty powerful build. It can take you all the way through the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button below. Really appreciate any and all support, and thank you so much for watching.